Good morning. Doing a nice autumn scene here. It's a very cool autumn morning. I'm doing a front lit scene today, which means it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because I have to almost turn around and look behind me to keep the sun from glaring on my palette and canvas. Let me go over the colors on my palette here quick. Titanium white. This is primary yellow. I normally don't use this. This is a new color. Thought I'd experiment with it. Usually I'd have cadmium lemon here, cadmium yellow light, cadmium orange, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, cadmium red or cadmium red medium, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, viridian, and chromium green oxide. And doing a wash here because I'm gonna have to probably paint some intricate things over that. I normally don't do the layered approach where I paint one layer on top of another, but I will do it using thin colors here. Figure out what brush I want to use. Actually, I'm going to sketch it out first. I'm going to combine a couple different scenes that are right next to each other. Autumn here can be fairly challenging. I'm going to keep that out of my cerulean. Some of the trees have not turned yet. Some of the other trees are completely bare and have lost all their leaves. And I do apologize for the background noise. PennDOT thought it would be a good idea to build a road right by the area I was going to paint. Now, I'm not going to paint this scene exactly how it is. I'm going to recompose, borrowing elements from different areas. I'm just making sure that it's all within a consistent lighting. And you might hear some occasional gunshots too, because it's hunting season and I'm by a game management area. I'm still actually standing in a parking lot, so hopefully I don't get shot at. I'm not wearing blaze orange. Bring this tree up a little bit higher. I had painted approximately this scene a couple months ago. You can find that video on my channel. Of course, it was summertime then. But the actual tree is pretty much devoid of foliage, so as I said earlier, I'm going to borrow inspiration from both. Two different scenes here. There goes some gunshots. I'm assuming these hunters would not want to shoot their beautiful pickup trucks, which I'm standing right by them, so I'm hoping they don't aim in this direction. But if I suddenly disappear, I suddenly stop painting and you hear some thumping, call 911. So starting with the darkest darks, and I'm going to carry these darks up into the tree. To have kind of a thin layer to build off of. Okay, so I'm looking at my design and I'm pretty happy with it. It's simple. I want to keep it simple. I'm not after every intricacy out here, just don't have time to do it. But I have a nice mass of dark here and kind of a nice lead in. You're not going to see that in the scene. That's something I just decided to put in on my own. And let's make this a little more interesting here. Break up that straight line. It has a feeling of going uphill, which you can see that somewhat in the scene. So when you're doing a composition, and I want to emphasize too that if you're new to plein air painting, I wouldn't worry so much about this. This is more advanced, but you know, if you've been plein air painting for a while and you're basically being like a Xerox machine and you're getting kind of bored with it, because I've been there, this is the next step, is try to compose something, try to use the elements that are in the scene when you're out there and move them around and make something interesting. So with this, basically what I did is I created a nice dark shape that is my focal point in here, and it has a nice abstract design to it. And when I say abstract, I'm not talking about like Picasso and that. I'm talking about creating an abstract shape, which is a non-geometric shape. Okay, something that's not a circle, square, a triangle. And those abstract shapes can be very interesting to look at. If I just put a circle on here and painted the circle, I could probably put it in a New York gallery and sell for millions of dollars. But that would be really, really boring. I just never understood what people see in that stuff. But anyway, something like this, it has a nice abstract shape in a sense that it's not just a circle, it's not just a square, and therefore it's interesting to look at. But we also could recognize it as a tree, and that's where abstract art, and studying certain aspects of abstract art can have its place if it creates a pleasing, interesting design. Like I said, if it's some of the insane stuff I've seen, like just a circle in the middle of a square and that's it, and I just don't get that stuff. So I want to get in some of this background here in this more distant hill. I'm just going after an approximate of what I'm seeing there. I want to make sure it's lighter than what I have. Hopefully I haven't offended any abstract artists. I actually like abstract art, some of it. It's the modern art that I have a problem with. And I don't think modern artists will be watching this stuff anyway, but modern art in that, where they take something gross and they just taping a banana on a wall. That one just blew my mind. That's modern art. And somebody actually bought that thing, I guess. And then it was hilarious. Somebody actually ate it. And then, to justify the whole thing, they said that the eating it was all part of the show, from what I understand. I just... People got to be really bored out there, I'll tell you. Alright, so let's get in some of this foreground green. We could use that to measure our other colors from. So I'm using some sap green here, mixing that with some other colors. I want to make sure that this ground plane is light enough so that when I move into the trees, I can still make this foliage somewhat light, but yet have it be darker than the ground plane, which is very important, going back to Carlson's angles and consequent values. By the way, if you're not a modern artist and you're interested in studying under me, if you can handle my twisted sense of humor, I teach live online painting classes. Meet on Saturdays. Right now we're meeting 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern time because I know some people are curious about that. And I take you through painting step by step, stroke by stroke. I actually tell you all the colors I'm mixing. I don't tell you all the colors I'm mixing here because I don't have time and this is free. But we take time in the studio, we slow way down, and I also have a monthly demo where I take the same painting and I demonstrate it start to finish with full commentary, close-ups on my color mixtures, explanations, all that stuff. And you can watch that. Right now I have at least 10 paintings you can learn how to do there when you join right away. Oh, somebody shot something. Hope that bullet doesn't fly toward me. That'll make the modern artist happy. I'm just really a smart aleck today. But anyway, if you're interested, check it out. There's a link below. You can sign up for the waiting list for the live classes. If you want to do the demo-only membership, right, you can join that right away. Send me an email and let me know. Email is jason@jasontako.com. And I can get you the link to do that. All right, so let's get in some of this beautiful foliage here before I get shot. The trick with front lid scenes, and I talked about this in my last video, is still being able to show some semblance of form. That's definitely going to be the case here. Now, even though we're seeing some more intense orange foliage up there, we want to make sure we keep it darker than the sky. And that's part of the reason why I blocked in some of that sky color first. I did it very thin, but I didn't want to be working off of or right up against pure white, because then I might end up making this area lighter than it should be, and then when I block in the blue, it'll just be all thrown off as far as the value structure and everything. Key is when you're looking at this scene, squint at it. And there's all kinds of color up here. Excuse me, you're gonna see greens, yellows, oranges. And it can be a bit overwhelming, and I just kind of mix as I go, making sure that I stay within the value structure that I've established. And I'm putting the paint on a bit thicker because I am fairly confident that it is correct. This is a very impressionistic technique that we're using here. Just heard somebody blowing a whistle. Might be the modern artist found me. We got him. Get him. I do want to re-emphasize I'm not picking on abstract artists. I'm picking on modern artists. I'm just in that kind of mood today. I have no idea why. Oh, they're getting closer. Okay, for me, the star of the show is this orange tree. Right in here. So I want to get in some of the darks first. That guy's cocking his gun over there. Must be one of the modern artists. I'll shut up now about that. But I want to get this orange in before I get shot. And keep in mind with these autumn colors, when you see orange, you're rarely, if ever, going to be using just straight cadmium orange out of the tube. And that's the mistake a lot of people will make. I look at that, I'm actually even seeing some alizarin type influence in there. Get toward the bottom, there's a couple spots here that have some really intense stuff going on, and also up in here too. That's why you don't want to go intense right away. If you think you're seeing all this intensity, just back off on it, tone it down. If you tone everything down starting out, then you have some intensity left for the really for the areas that have a lot of punch. If you go in and you start putting in all this intense color right away, then there's nowhere left to go.
How you doing, bud?
Good, how you doing?
What you got going on there?
Just working on a painting.
Come.
Did you have any luck out there?
Yeah, we did all right.
You guys go after pheasant or?
Yes, pheasant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they have to stock them in here?
Yeah, you gotta wait till they stop.
Yeah. As I go lighter with this tree, I have to go a bit lighter with the ground plane here so that this makes sense visually.
Got it figured out.
There's some of this dead grass that gives us a nice light value on the ground plane. I definitely want to get some of this in. Just an indication of it so I can keep that value structure. Switch to the palette knife for a little bit. I'm just going back and forth with these darks and the lights. Like I said, one of the big challenges is that this tree is mostly front lit. The sun is starting to swing over this direction a little bit, which will give us a little bit of dark edge on this side, which I'm going to welcome because it'll give some form to the tree that we normally wouldn't have before. It's usually not advisable to do a straight on front lit scene like this because it's one of the most difficult to paint because you lose your form, and it can be done, but you really have to know what you're doing. However, on the flip side, I really like how the colors come out and how just that straight on sunshine really brings out these colors in these trees. I have to remind myself I'm not going to capture every little thing in here. But if I can capture a lot of it, I'll be happy. Probably hear there's quite a conversation going on here. The hunters who've gotten back. If my microphone's picking that up, I might have to edit that out so I don't violate the YouTube foul language terms for advertising. So I'm looking at both scenes. There's the scene on the, there's a one scene which I'm focusing mostly on because the tree has more intact foliage. But I'm looking at the other scene now next to it that has, both of them have this smaller orange tree in front of it. But the other one, the orange, is a bit more intense, and so I'm borrowing from that one, that orange, to put into this. So at the end of the day, it's really about going home with a nice design. Nobody's gonna know that that tree wasn't exactly that orange. You could have come out earlier in the season, a few days ago, maybe it was that intense, or maybe it will be as time goes on. Okay, now I'm going for some more pure yellow for up here at the top. Because I'm seeing that up there, and going slightly lighter and a little bit cooler with this ever so slightly cooler yellow than what's already on here, that can help kind of round the tree off at the top, gives it some nice form. Okay. Play with this ground plane a little bit. Once again, I'm borrowing. There's a very nice chunk of dead grass growing right up in front here. The wind's starting to pick up a bit. Go back in, do a little bit of sculpting up in here. I have to be careful because I'm not going to be able to capture everything exactly as it is. You can really get into a war, if you will, battle with nature. As if you're trying to master it, and you just can't. You just can't do it. There's always some kind of sacrifice that you need to make. And that's actually what makes art beautiful, is not trying to master and capture nature as it is, but borrowing from it to make interesting, beautiful design. It's the whole less is more philosophy. Nope, I'm definitely gonna have to edit this video. Now, down here on these bushes, they have some more pure yellow. Actually getting some clouds moving in. It's one little cloud. Okay, I want to get some of these trunks in here. Get in some of these bare branches. Not sure if I like those. I might leave those out. Just apply them a little bit on the side. apply some of these colors in this distant hill. Just get the impression of them. Don't worry about capturing every single little color you see back there. Let's take a quick look at them and then look away. Look away and then paint, I should say. I think the scariest thing for me is I'm running out of paper towels. Should have brought more. I thought I would have enough, but and I can't paint without paper towels. So I'm fully convinced that these guys who've come in from hunting are just going to have a tailgate party here the whole time. Don't know if you can hear them or not. They're using some pretty colorful language, so... So I'm taking some of this blue here, sky blue, and putting it back in. I said I'm just going to leave this out because I don't think this dead tree, I might indicate a little bit of it after I get some of the sky in, but I don't think it's going to add a whole lot to the integrity of the painting, to the design of it. Might just be a distraction. You can use a palette knife to put this on, add a little bit of that primary yellow, try to get some of the clean stuff, as we get down here toward the horizon. Okay, as we get closer to the zenith of the sky, I'm going to mix white with ultramarine blue. And a touch of cerulean as well. Because you do start getting a little more of a reddish blue the further up in the sky you go. Trying to keep this out of the tree color out of the sky. But notice a big thing is the value of my tree is darker than the sky. That is so important. I have a video on biggest mistakes artists make when painting trees. So go to my channel and check that out. I have a lot of videos actually on painting, plein air painting, different scenes. And I'm usually a little more talkative in them. I have to kind of be quiet because of the tailgating party we have going on here with the potty mouth. And I'm just going to have to probably edit those parts out where you can hear them swearing. Otherwise YouTube will dock me. And I want kids to be able to watch this too if they want. Okay, so let's do some sky holes. And actually, I want to mix a little bit more of just the general sky color. And I can use this to kind of come in and give this tree a little bit more interesting shape. Thing I like about doing this with the palette knife is that it's so easy to wipe a palette knife perfectly clean a lot easier than it is a brush. And when you're mixing these colors, when you're blending these colors together with a brush, it's so easy to, unless you wipe that brush off super clean, to get some of the leaf color into the brush. And then you'll end up dragging that back into the sky and you'll create a big mess. Right in here, a lot of times these sky holes show up in the darkest parts of the tree. And the reason why is because you're seeing openings in here, which those openings are creating shadows, and then those openings are more likely you're going to be able to see straight through to the other side of the tree, the opening on the other side. And these sky holes can really create a lot of interest, but you have to be careful you don't go overboard with them. The tree is always going to have a lot more sky holes. Not always, but in a lot of cases, a tree's going to have a lot more sky holes in it than you want to put in. Remember, ultimately, your big purpose is to come up with a nice design. Now, as I said earlier, if you're beginning, you probably don't want to worry about design if you're a beginning artist. But after you get, some experience under your belt, then this is the stuff to go for. Okay, let's take some pure cadmium orange and cadmium yellow light and a little cadmium red. And this is where we get to put some nice intense hits in here. This is why you want to save the intense stuff for the end. If you like this video, you're able to handle my sense of humor and all the other fun stuff that goes along with plein air painting, including hunters with foul mouths, having a tailgate party right by, give me a thumbs up. Gonna do some softening here. Getting a lot of cloud cover moving in now. Their dogs keep barking at them from inside the vehicle. The dogs want to go. Tailgate party is still going on. Okay, so we run into a situation where we have a gigantic cloud over the scene. I think it's going to stick around for a while, but I think I'm pretty happy with this. It's a busy painting, but it's a busy scene. But I think we did make some organization of it. Big thing though, big takeaways is we started out with the more neutralized colors and we built our way up into more intense colors. We kept our value structure, kept it pretty solid. The sky is the lightest part, and the ground plane keeping the tree slightly darker than the ground plane. Though autumn is one of those anomalies where you're going to have a situation where the trees could end up being as light, if not lighter, than the ground plane, and sometimes even the sky, depending on what's happening with the sky. But anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. Give me a thumbs up, a like, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.